Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to show you my fall plant haul. So I was invited to the Connect and Create event in Zeeland, Michigan, hosted by Walters Gardens and Proven Winners. And the beauty of being able to drive to an event, it was about a 3-hour ride. The beauty of driving to an event is you get to come home with really fresh, gorgeous plants. So this is what I came home with. And for many of you, maybe you're done planting for the season, but I would encourage you to reconsider that and plant in the fall. Fall is prime planting time. You've still got the warm soil, you've got cooler air, so the plants are not going to be stressed. They acclimate that much faster, set those roots in. The one thing that's most important is your timing. So you want to get your plants in the ground 4 to 6 weeks before your ground freezes. So for me, a lot of times that's not until sometime in like early December, but I try to get everything planted by like late September. So we're at the beginning of September now. I'm going to get these plants in the ground very soon, but I want to show you what I have. And look at this beast. So the funny thing about this, and if you know me and you followed my channel, read my blog, I love Mangave. Look at this guy. So I was trying to figure out how am I going to get all of this in my car. And when you've done, did a lot of magazine work, so I was rebuilding gardens for magazines before shoots and everything, so I really learned how to play plant Tetris with a zillion plants in my little car, so I got really good at it, and I was able to get all of this in my little Subaru Crosstrek. So what I just showed you was a Mangave. So this is Aztec King. Let me bring it to you again. And he is massive. Look at that. So, I'm trying to be very careful about how much work I create for myself. And granted, I've created a decent amount of work for myself by bringing in a giant Mangave because Mangave isn't hardy in my zone. I'm a zone 5B, 6A. So most Mangaves are hardy to zone 9. Bad Hair Day, which I got. I wanted this one so bad. This is Bad Hair Day. This is, I think, their cold hardiest variety, and I think this is hardy to zone 8. So what I do with my Mangave, because I love them so much, I treat them as houseplants. So they go out in full sun for the summertime, and then for the winter months, I bring them inside and put them in a very sunny window, south-facing window, or I'll throw them under grow lights. Honestly, I don't know where Aztec King is going to go. I think I'll really have to put some thought into that, but I wanted him so badly because next year, I'm already thinking ahead, next year it's going to go into my front yard garden because that's going to become a full sun spot because I've lost a shade tree. So big plans for that guy. Don't know how he's going to overwinter, but keep that in mind if you're a cold climate gardener. You're going to have to either treat it as an annual if you don't want to bring it in, or find a very sunny window, or grow lights. I also had a friend tell me that she just puts hers in a garage, and she's in Wyoming, puts hers in an unheated windowless garage, so it's in the dark. The most important thing with Mangave is that you don't overwater them when they're in storage. I will water it like as I'm putting it into storage, overwintering it, and then I just kind of forget about it, and that seems to do the trick. I've had them for 5 years now, several different varieties, and many of mine are phasing out. They're flowering, so they're coming to the end of their life. So these guys, I'm replenishing my Mangave stock, and since I'm on Mangave, the Mangave that I wanted along with Bad Hair Day, and I never knew I wanted Aztec King until I saw him at Walters Gardens, but gotta have him too. But I grabbed, this one is Lavender Lady, and she's gorgeous. So these are great plants for low maintenance, full sun, sharp drainage, and the beauty of Mangave, they're a cross between a Manfreda plant and an agave, is they can handle a bit more water. So you don't have to be too concerned, like if you're putting them in a mixed bed, you don't have to be too concerned with overwatering because they will adjust. You just want to make sure they've got some good sharp drainage. So those are my Mangave. So the Aztec King, I got 3 of the Lavender Ladies and 1 of the Bad Hair Day. And he is so cool because it's just gnarly looking, spilling over a pot. So the plan is to put the Lavender Lady in the landscape next year, and then Bad Hair Day will go in a pot to really accentuate and put the focus on the way that foliage is spilling over. Aztec King is going to be a beast in the front yard garden, but beautiful. And then let me get you, so part of the Connect and Create event was being able to tour garden crossings. So that was in Leland, Michigan. And there was a clematis that I was looking for. It was a group 1 clematis called, it's a mountain clematis. And you can't really tell what it looks like from here, but really pretty. They're very floriferous. They flower in the spring, late spring, early summer. really pretty apple blossom-like flowers, very fragrant. They get very tall. So this one's going to be, this is Montana, it's a Montana clematis. It's called Maylene. And I think she gets like 20 to 30 feet tall. So I've got a really pretty spot for where this is going to grow. And you can't tell how beautiful it's going to be, but if it plays out as beautifully as I'm imagining it, it should be very striking with a hydrangea that I'm going to plant, that I have, that is going to be planted in front of it. So that's a group 1 mountain clematis called Maylene, and that was from Garden Crossings. And let me just show you the little guys here. So they had these plant displays at Walter's Gardens. So the event was held under tents, and they gave lectures, and we learned a lot, but the whole tent was decked out with these gorgeous, gorgeous plants. So they told us, you know, go ahead and take what we wanted. So one of the things I wanted was this Fairy Trail Bride hydrangea. Now this too, it's not hardy in my zone. I think it's hardy to zone 7 maybe. Zone 6, so I'm a 5B, 6A. Not confident that it's gonna overwinter. It'll go in a container. So this will be one, it's a cascading clematis or hydrangea. And I've been seeing a lot of cascading hydrangeas planted in hanging baskets and containers. So I thought, let's experiment with that next year. So I grabbed a Fairy Trail Bride. I'm gonna pot this up in a container and then overwinter it in my garage. So let me show you what the tag looks like. That's Fairy Trail Bride, and she gets to be, you can see another picture kind of here, that cascading effect here. And she'll be about 4 feet tall and hardy in zones 6 to 9. So if you've got a warmer climate, this might do fine for you in the ground. For me, it's gonna be overwintered in the garage, just gonna let it go dormant and protect it and hopefully bring it back for next spring. And then I have a little rose here. So if you followed me on Instagram, I've talked about it many times in my disappointment with a climbing rose that has just been targeted by thrips. It's been awful. So it sets tons of buds for the spring flowering, that first flowering, but every year I just can't win. So I thought I'm gonna take those out, and I have one already. I wanna try a different rose, and maybe I'm just setting myself up for failure by putting another rose in there, but I can't give up on the rose yet. So this will be like the final strike. So if this doesn't work, I already have one. This one is called Rise Up Lilac Days. It's a climbing rose. And this one gets to be, they say on the tag, 5 to 8 feet tall, but I've had friends that have grown it and have said that it's grown far taller than that. So I'm gonna put that one on each side of the clematis that's in my front yard and let that do its thing. And hopefully the thrips do not like it as much as they like this very pale pink rose that I already have on there. So the Lilac Days rose, beautiful purple color, and then there's the inside card. So it says here 5 to 8 feet tall and about 2 to 4 feet wide. So we're gonna try this one on the trellis. I'll be planting that this fall as well. And this is an annual, and I'm gonna throw a picture of this in the landscape at my friend's house in Michigan. This is a sweet potato vine called Medusa Black. And the way it covers the ground, I love ground cover. And the more ground you cover with plants, the less pressure you get from weeds. So they're not gonna be able to germinate because you're shading them from the sunlight. So granted, this is a thirsty plant, the sweet potato vine, but look at this foliage on that. So very nice split, cut through foliage, and really something to consider for spilling over the container or as a ground cover, low growing ground cover. It just looks beautiful and really cool looking. I loved it. So I grabbed a sample of it, might put it in a fall container, but didn't want to forget to tell you guys about that one. So that's Medusa Black sweet potato vine. Now for, I think, the plant that I was most excited about, and I got 3 of them. So this is a brand new introduction. This won't be available until 2026, so next year. And this is a native. This is a Vernonia or ironweed called Prairie Princess. Late blooming, so perfect for fall color. And if you're disappointed with asters, I often am. Asters get mowed down by the rabbits, or they just end up looking just unkept. So this has a great growth habit, you guys. So beautiful purple like aster flowers on it. It's just got deeper color. It's like a smoky purple stems on it, deeper foliage color. So I also have another variety called Iron Butterfly that has a softer green foliage on it, similar flower color. So the difference is this is great for small spaces. So like Iron Butterfly, still considered a smaller variety, it gets to be about 5 feet tall, whereas the species can be like 7, 8 feet tall. So that's massive. This beautiful one only gets to be about 3 feet tall and 3 feet wide, 2 to 3 feet wide. Very upright, very nice, kept kind of vase-shaped growth habit, but you can see all the buds on this. So this, I got 3 of these guys, and they should be beautiful. And it's native, in case I think I mentioned that, but it's a native. So small space native, definitely be on the lookout for this next spring. It's called Vernonia or ironweed Prairie Princess. I got 3 of them. And then I'm always thinking about plant combinations. So I love the combination of purple and yellow. So the Vernonia is purple, and that's gonna be in another part of the garden. But this one, so I love the purple and yellow. So this is the phlox, this is ultramarine, luminary ultramarine. And I'm gonna pair that with a new variety. I was trialing this in the garden this year. Oh, hey guys. I was trialing this in in the garden this year. This is a variety called Raised for Days. So put those 2 colors together. They flower at the same time, and you've got this really beautiful, easy combination. So the luminary ultraviolet, look at that flower. It is so pretty. She gets to be about 3 feet tall and about as wide, about 2 feet wide, and just is constantly in flower. So if you deadhead, you'll keep promoting more blooms, loves full sun, pollinators love it, and has a beautiful fragrance. So then the Riptide, or I'm sorry, Raised for Days, thinking of a different plant. Raised for Days is about 2 feet tall, full to part sun, another great pollinator plant, and about 18 inches wide, something like that. So I'm always thinking of combinations. So I thought purple and yellow, it's a win-win for me. So I loved that combination. And that one was Raised for Days, and it's a Heliopsis. So sorry if I didn't say that. Heliopsis and phlox. Now grasses. If you watched my video when I gave you the tour through Walter's Gardens, I really focused on grasses because in the late season garden, grasses are the name of the game. So the way the dew sits on it and the droplets, it's just absolutely beautiful. The movement it brings to the garden, the color changes that happen with the fall grasses. So I grabbed 2 smaller varieties of little blue stem. So I got 2 of these, and this is brushstrokes. So it's got this beautiful blue-green grass, and then as the season carries on, it goes this gorgeous burgundy color. The inflorescences are very pollinator or bird-friendly, birds love it, and it just adds a very structural, upright habit to the garden, some movement, and it's very easy, native as well. So this is little blue stem, Prairie Winds brushstrokes. So I grabbed 2 of those, and then if you're needing an evergreen or a conifer for a small space and you want something that maybe is going to block a view or create a screen, I grabbed one of this. This is Sting arborvitae, and this is only going to be about, I think it's like 1.5 feet wide, maybe 18 inches wide. Yeah, 1 foot to 1.5 feet wide, and about 15 to 20 feet tall. So in the picture here, they show it, it's this tall here. So very, very narrow growth habit, perfect for small spaces. So maybe you want to create a windbreak or a divider between your lots, or just a screen of some sort. Sting arborvitae is a really nice way to go, and I believe that's hardy in 3 to 8. Yeah, hardy in zones 3 to 8. So put it in a space where you just need something small that grows taller than it does wide, and it also gives you some structure in the garden. I try to add, as I've grown as a gardener, I've been very conscious of trying to add more conifers to the garden for winter interest and lower maintenance. So kind of weaving in as many conifers as I can in a small space really it's a win-win for everybody. The birds have habitat or structure in the wintertime to hide, and then I've got something pretty that's still of interest in the winter, in the winter landscape. All right, next up, we have an astilbe. Now, I've not had a lot of luck with astilbe, but I think it has to do more with placement and just, I don't have a drip system. If you know astilbe loves water, but I couldn't get over, I love interesting foliage. So the astilbe, this is dark side of the moon. Grabbed 3 of these guys too, because the rule of thumb is you don't want to just take one of something, you want to have multiples of 3, so 3, 5, 7. But when you have a smaller landscape, you can't do 11, or maybe you can depending on how much you like that plant. But this is Dark Side of the Moon Astilbe. And the more sun you give it, the blacker the foliage, but you also have to keep in mind, the more sun you give it, the thirstier it's going to be. So this is what it looks like. It gets this beautiful raspberry colored flower on it. Dark Side of the Moon is hardy in zones 4 to 9 and gets to be about 2 feet tall and wide. So just keep in mind, if you plant Astilbe, the more sun it gets, the thirstier it's going to be. But in general, Astilbe is a very thirsty plant. But the flowers are also of interest too, because you can leave them up for structure. And they had those planted in mass at Walter's Gardens as well. And those flower plumes, even though the flowers were gone, those plumes were intact and gave an upright element to the shade garden. And then I also grabbed a fern that I'm not familiar with. I've never heard of it, but it looked interesting. It's kind of got a rougher texture to it. It's called Franz Forever Ethereum. It's a lady fern, part shade to shade, and it gets to be about 2 feet tall. And it's hardy in zones 3 to 8. So I thought we'd give that one a shot too in my shadier space. They only had one of them, so I quick grabbed that. And last but not least, I love succulents. As you can see, the Mangaves are wonderful. But I also grabbed, I've fallen in love with a line of succulents. And I planted some earlier in the year. I planted, if you watched my video where I did, planted that bird bath, and I drilled holes into it and filled it with lots of succulents. Well, I found a line of succulents that I absolutely love, and they're a line called Chick Charms. So this is just one of 3 that I found. This is one called Mint Marvel. But look at the structure on that. They're also, I don't have to dig these guys up. I can leave them outside as long as I put them in a sunny spot with really good drainage, because too much moisture even through like the winter time is probably going to be the kiss of death for these guys. So I'm always experimenting, but I really love succulents. And let me grab these other 2. And the names of them are so cute. So this one's Cherry Bomb, and then this one's called Sugar Shimmer. So those are my 3 new Chick Charms. And there's a whole lineup of them. I don't know exactly how many there are, but there are a lot. So now the trick is finding space for these guys. Where am I going to put them? And that's the fun part. But just keep in mind, fall is even better than springtime for planting your plants. They've got a head start. So they set their roots sooner. They get established. It's much easier growing conditions for them. And then come spring, you've got a plant that's ready to rock and roll and do its thing. And you can sit back and enjoy it. And that is my plant haul. And I just want to show you Aztec King one more time, because look at that. He's huge. And anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Don't miss out on a fall planting opportunity. You will not regret it. And I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.